Coach. Coaching is the greatest job in the world until it isn't. We're one admin change away, one losing season away, or one situation away from everything changing. So the question is, what's your plan for beyond the whistle? I just turned 50, and for the first time, I'm talking about thinking about building my new game plan. I started really thinking about what's the next chapter look like. Not because I don't love coaching, but because I know it won't last forever. I've never been that guy who wanted to coach until he was 70. So I started looking into real options for coaches, not to lead the game, but to build something alongside of it. And this is one of the first ones, insurance. But before we get into it, I pulled together a quick breakdown to give you a starting point, what it takes, what it looks like, and how coaches are actually doing this. I use some AI tools to organize the research, but this will give you a solid foundation to see if this is something that fits you. As you watch this, ask yourself, could I actually see myself doing this? Does this fit my lifestyle? Is this something I could build on while I'm still coaching?
All right, if you're getting ready to take the North Carolina Life and Health exam, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to cut right through all the noise and focus on the absolute core concepts you need to nail to pass this thing on your first try. Let's just dive right in. I mean, seriously, what if you could walk into that testing center knowing precisely where the most points are? Well, guess what? You can. It's not some big secret. The state's own exam outline tells us that North Carolina's specific rules and regulations carry a ton of weight. So, that's where we're going to start, right there, with the highest value information you can possibly get. You know, mastering these state-specific rules isn't just a good idea. It's really the foundation for getting a passing score.
Okay, first up, let's talk about what I like to call the magic numbers. These are specific time frames that pop up over and over again on the exam. And you don't just want to be familiar with them, you need to have these memorized cold.
Let's kick it off with the number 10. This one's a biggie. It's a multi-purpose number that North Carolina uses for a few really key deadlines. The trick here is to group these in your head. Think 10 days. That's your free look period to return a policy, no questions asked. It's also your deadline to tell the Department of Insurance if you move or change your name. And it's the minimum notice you'll get for a hearing. So see? 3 rules, 1 number. Lock that in.
All right, let's move on to our next magic number, 2. This 2-year mark is the absolute bedrock of one of the most important protections for consumers in any life insurance contract.
And that protection is called the incontestability clause. Basically, its whole job is to protect the beneficiary. Once a policy has been enforced for 2 years, the insurance company can't come back and deny a claim because of a mistake on the application, unless it's, major fraud. The exam loves to test this. They'll give you a scenario where someone dies 2 years and 1 day after the policy starts. The answer is always, the insurer has to pay. Our final magic number is 31. I want you to think of this one as the ultimate safety net for your clients. It's that little bit of breathing room that keeps their coverage going when, life happens.
This is the grace period. So if a premium payment is late, the policy doesn't just shut off instantly. The owner gets 31 days to make that payment. And here's the really powerful part. If the insured person dies during that grace period, the death benefit is still paid out. They'll just subtract that premium that was due.
Okay, now let's nail down 3 illegal practices that are pretty much guaranteed to be on your exam. They can sound a little similar, so you got to focus on the keywords. Twisting is when you use lies or misrepresentation to get someone to replace their old policy with your new one. Rebating is when you offer an illegal inducement to get the sale, like offering to give back some of your commission. And defamation is when you make a false attack on another insurance company's reputation. Just remember those 3 words: replacement, inducement, attack. That's how you'll keep them straight.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit. Every single question about policies on this exam is built on just a few core legal principles. If you can get this contract DNA down, you can often figure out the right answer even on the trickiest questions.
First up is this idea of adhesion. It's simple, really. It just means the insurance company writes the entire contract and the client has to adhere to it. They can take it or leave it. There's no back and forth negotiation. And because of that, the law is very clear. Any part of that contract that's ambiguous or vague must be interpreted in favor of the consumer. That is a huge exam tip right there. Next, you need to know that these contracts are aleatory. It's a fancy word, but it just means the exchange of value is unequal. Just think about it, right? Someone pays a $50 premium, and if a tragedy happens, their family could get a check for $500,000. The potential values exchanged are completely lopsided.
All right, pop quiz. This is just like a question you'll see on the test. What do you call a contract where only one side is making a promise that can be legally enforced?
The answer is unilateral. Just think uni, like one. Only one party, the insurer, is making a legally binding promise. Their promise is to pay claims. You, as the policyholder, can stop paying your premiums whenever you want. The legal promise only goes one way. Okay, time for a quick rapid-fire round. The exam just loves to pit different policy types against each other to see if you know the difference. So let's clarify the biggest head-to-head matchups you're going to see. First up, the all-time classic, term versus whole life. The easiest way to remember this is simple. Term life is like renting your insurance. It's temporary, it covers you for a set period, and there's no equity. Whole life is like owning your insurance. It's permanent, it's designed to last your entire life, and it builds cash value. Next, let's look at HMO versus PPO. For an HMO, a health maintenance organization, the key word you have to remember is gatekeeper. You usually need a referral from your primary care physician, or PCP, and you have to stay in that network. For a PPO, a preferred provider organization, the key word is freedom. There's no gatekeeper, no referrals needed, and you have the flexibility to go out of network. It'll just cost you a little more.
So, we've covered some of the highest valued concepts you're going to face. What's the game plan from here? Let's lay out a super clear path to make sure you walk in there ready to pass.
Here's your 4-step plan. 1. Drill those magic numbers, 10, 31, and 2, until you don't even have to think about them. 2. Take full-length practice exams over and over until you are consistently scoring an 85% or higher. Seriously, this is non-negotiable. 3. Go back and review that contract DNA we talked about. And finally, step 4. Once you're hitting that 85% mark, go schedule your exam. Don't wait around and lose that momentum.
And look, at the end of the day, remember this exam is more than just a test. It's the gateway to your new career. You're learning the fundamental rules that are going to protect your future clients and build your professional reputation for years to come. You've totally got this. Now go get it done.
All right, coach. Again, this isn't about leaving coaching. It's about making sure you've got options when things change. This is just the first one. I've got 2 more episodes built already for this series. One looking at real estate, another thinking about being a financial advisor so you can actually see what fits you. Be honest. Have you ever thought about what comes after coaching? Drop yes or no in the comments because great coaches don't just build programs, they build options.